You know how every Chevy and GMC hater has the same punchline? Yeah, enjoy your lifters. Doesn't matter if it's a 5.3, a 6.2 and a half ton, or a 6.2 in a Camaro. The story's been the same for a decade. AFM/DFM lifter failures, weird partial cylinder nonsense, and a V8 program that went from bulletproof LS legend to hope you bought an extended warranty. That's GM's biggest failure in the modern truck era. Not that the engines were weak, not that they couldn't make power, that they broke the trust. They took a simple, durable architecture and stacked fuel-saving gimmicks on top until the whole thing got a reputation for ticking, collapsing, and going back to the dealer in pieces. Now we've got leaks, supplier whispers, and investment slides all pointing at a new engine, LT3. On the surface, it's just another alphanumeric, another Corvette power plant for fanboys to argue about. But if you look at how GM is spending money and what they're saying about their next-gen small blocks, the picture that emerges is pretty simple. LT3 is the first V8 in years that looks like it was built to fix GM's biggest failure, not repeat it. So tonight, here's what we're going to do. Break down what GM actually did wrong with AFM/DFM and their current truck V8s. Look at what the LT3 leaks tell us about the new architecture, and then translate that into real truck owner consequences: reliability, torque where you actually drive, and whether you wait for this thing or grab what's on the lot now. Because this isn't just a Corvette story. This is a "Can GM be trusted with V8s again" story, where GM went off the rails. Let's start with the reality, not the meme. The LS era was simple. Pushrod V8, no cylinder tricks, solid oiling, mod-friendly. They ran forever and took stupid abuse. Then fuel rules tightened, CAFE targets got nasty, and GM had a choice. Build a fresh architecture to handle new emissions and fuel targets, or hack efficiency onto what they already had. They chose the hack. Enter AFM, Active Fuel Management, collapsing lifters that shut off half the cylinders under light load. DFM, Dynamic Fuel Management, even more aggressive cylinder patterns, constantly turning various cylinders on and off. Aggressive use of thin oils and long drain intervals, tight, heat-soaked packaging in modern engine bays. On a whiteboard, it was genius. V8 power when you need it, four-cylinder behavior when you don't. In the real world, it looked like this: lifters collapsing, cam lobes chewed up, trucks going into limp mode, service bulletins, TSBS, revised parts, more TSBS. Owners losing trust, even when their engine never failed, because the horror stories were everywhere. That's the failure LT3 has to fix. Not power or specs, but credibility. Truck guys don't just want 400-plus horsepower. They want to know the engine will still be doing normal truck things at 150,000 without living on a tow truck. What the LT3 leaks actually tell us: GM isn't putting a full LT3 spec sheet on Instagram. You get it in bits. Investment announcements for a new generation of small block V8s. Internal and supplier chatter that points to LT3 as a new high-output V8 architecture. Corvette/enthusiast leaks about new head designs, higher compression, and better breathing. The important part isn't whether LT3 is exactly X displacement or makes Y horsepower in a Corvette. The important part is how it solves the problems the old small block couldn't. A cleaner valve train strategy. GM cannot afford another decade of "my lifters died at 70,000" memes. So LT3 almost certainly takes one of these routes. Simplified or redesigned cylinder deactivation hardware that doesn't rely on fragile collapsing lifters the way AFM/DFM did. Or in truck/HD variants, ditching lifter-based deactivation entirely in favor of other efficiency tools. Combustion optimization, variable cam timing, maybe mild hybrid assist. Either way, the core idea is stop hanging the entire reliability story on a tiny hydraulic widget buried in the block. Modern combustion from the ground up. LT3 isn't just another version of the same chamber. You're looking at high compression with direct injection and likely dual injection DI plus port in some variants. Chambers and piston crowns designed for tight knock control, so they can run more advanced and make more torque on less fuel. Exhaust and cat placement that actually matches modern emission strategies instead of being bolted onto an old design. That means more work per drop of fuel without needing to slam cylinders on and off all day. Torque where trucks live. Corvette guys care about 7,000 RPM. Truck guys don't. GM knows this. The new family, with LT3 at the sharp end, is being designed to make big, flat torque from 2,000 to 3,500 RPM, because that's where you tow, you climb grades, you fight headwinds on the highway. If you can make broad torque there, you fix two of GM's real-world problems. Transmissions don't have to hunt as much. You don't need to dip into extreme enrichment every time the road tilts up, which kills MPG and cooks cats. Emissions and hybrid compatibility baked in, not bolted on. The next small block family has to survive a world of stricter CO2 targets, stricter NOx and cold start rules, more trucks running with electric helpers. LT3-style architecture is about giving them headroom, extra cooling and oiling margin. Packaging that allows belt or integrated starter generators, room for cats and sensors to sit where they work best, not where the old block allowed. Put all that together and LT3 stops being just another V8 and starts looking like the engine that lets GM keep building V8 trucks without repeating the AFM disaster. How does this actually fix their biggest failure? Let's define the failure more clearly. Failure number 1. An over-reliance on collapsing lifters and cylinder tricks that destroyed trust. Failure number 2. An engine family that needed band-aids to meet emissions, instead of being designed for the new rules from day one. Failure number 3. Power on paper, but drivability and durability that didn't always feel like LS-era GM. LT3 and its family fixed those by changing the foundation instead of shuffling lifter part numbers. On the reliability side, if truck versions of this architecture either use much more robust deactivation hardware or skip lifter-based deactivation altogether in favor of other tools, you've cut out the single most infamous failure mode. A modern oiling system and timing setup designed for high heat, high load from the beginning can avoid the long-term chain and tensioner sag that shows up when you bolt new demands onto old guts. On the drivability side, a V8 with a genuinely flat, strong torque curve from 2 to 3.5 kRPM, paired with a 10-speed that doesn't have to dance, feels like a truck engine again. Relaxed, confident, predictable. That's the opposite of the paper torque we've seen, where engines look strong in a brochure but feel busy and over-calibrated in real towing. On the emissions/efficiency side, if you can get 5 to 10% better real-world efficiency from combustion and head design alone, you don't need to gamble your entire reputation on magic lifters shutting off half the motor. That makes it way easier for GM to keep V8s in half-tons, SUVs, and even HD trucks without crippling them with complexity. If they nail those three, GM's biggest failure, lifter-era small block drama, turns into a bad chapter, not the last chapter. Quick pause here. If you like hearing this stuff in plain English with real failure modes and not fanboy fluff, hit subscribe so you don't hear about the next big engine change from a recall letter instead of a breakdown like this. Alright, let's keep going. What this means for actual truck buyers. You're probably asking one of 3 questions. If I own a current GM V8, am I just screwed? If I'm buying soon, do I wait for LT3-based trucks? How do I not get burned in the transition? Let's hit each one. 1. If you own a current GM V8, you're not automatically doomed because you have AFM or DFM. Tons of these engines live long, normal lives. But you're playing on hard mode compared to someone who will buy into an LT3 era design. Your moveset is keep oil fresh and correct, not whenever the OLM nags me hard enough. Use severe duty intervals if you tow, idle, or see lots of heat. Pay attention to early valvetrain noise. Don't ignore ticking that starts getting worse. Don't tune or mod in a way that keeps it lugging at low RPM under big load. If you really want to de-risk it and you're keeping the truck long-term, talk to a good shop about disabling AFM/DFM in software where legal, and building a plan for a non-AFM cam plus lifter refresh if you're already high mileage. It's not mandatory, but it's the most direct way to step off the landmine GM put in there. 2. If you're shopping, this is where LT3 and the new small block family get interesting. One path, you buy now, knowing you're on the last generation of GM small blocks built with AFM/DFM hanging over them. You get a deal on the outgoing engine, maybe more incentives, and you plan to keep it 5 to 7 years and bail before the long-term stuff hits. The other path, you wait for LT3-based trucks, the ones that share architecture with the new performance V8, but are tuned and built for truck duty. You pay more upfront, new tech, less discount, but you're getting the engine family that was actually designed for the next decade's rules. Either way, the important thing is, you go in knowing that the era is changing. GM's biggest V8 failure isn't going to get fixed with yet another AFM lifter revision. It's going to get fixed with an engine like LT3 at the core of a truly new truck V8. 3. How to not get burned in the transition. Here's the practical playbook. If you need a truck now, buy with eyes open. Budget for one major valvetrain/AFM event over the life of the truck, or build AFM delete plus cam/lifter refresh into your long-term plan. If you can wait 1 to 3 years, watch for GM announcing the new V8 family officially in trucks, not just sports cars. First-year issues. There will always be something. Whether early LT3-based engines are showing fewer valvetrain and lifter issues than the old design. When you see 2 or 3 model years of LT3-style architecture in trucks with no recurring systemic failure point, that's your green light. That's when GM can legitimately say they fixed their biggest failure, not just on a slide, but in real driveways. Bottom line, GM's biggest V8 failure wasn't power. They never forgot how to make horsepower. Their failure was stacking fragile fuel-saving tricks onto an old architecture until the most famous V8 family in the game became a punchline for lifter failures and partial cylinder weirdness. LT3 is their chance to reset that, a deactivation strategy that doesn't put the entire engine's reputation on a set of collapsing lifters. If they stick the landing, the "enjoy your lifters" joke dies with the old small block. And for the first time in a long time, you'll be able to look at a GM V8 truck and say, yeah, that one's built for the next decade, not just patched to survive the last one.